Welcome to English Ambition, the channel that contains detailed explanation of all the chapters of class 12 and 11th English. And not only that, I'm constantly uploading very interesting videos that will enhance your vocabulary, improve your grammar, and help you to speak and even write correct and flawless English. So please subscribe my channel. Don't forget to view all these videos. They will be immensely helpful to all of you. Now today we are doing the second chapter of Flamingo, Lost Spring. It is written by Anise Jung. Now as we begin the chapter, let's first focus on the title. As we can see, the title has two words, spring and lost. Spring is a beautiful season, we all know, where flowers bloom, there is color, there is vibrance. And one more association it has, spring is also associated to childhood or youth. Okay, because in childhood also it's a period of happiness, it's a period of development and freedom and joy. So spring means these things. Now the other word is lost. So this chapter deals with those unfortunate people, the spring of whose life is lost. That means they have not enjoyed their childhood, they have not lived their youth properly, they did not have the freedom, the joy, the carefreeness that is associated with childhood or youth. Now, why has this happened? This is the theme of this chapter. As we do this chapter, children, we have to, feel the chapter with a sensitive heart. We have to understand the pain and the sorrow and the suffering of these unfortunate children. Let's come to the theme of the story. The theme of the story is number one, the child labor. Okay, how some children, I should say many children of our society are forced into child labor. This is the first thing. Second thing is the grinding poverty and exploitation that these children are subjected to over generations. Generation after generation, they are trapped in a vicious cycle of poverty, of misery, and of exploitation. I will use these words in this chapter again and again. Okay, vicious cycle, poverty, misery, and exploitation, and you have to also use them in your answers. Now, if we begin the story, we see that this chapter has two episodes. Okay, and the protagonist of these episodes are, number one is Sahib. Who is Sahib? Sahib is a rag picker of Simapuri. What is Simapuri? Simapuri is a place near Delhi, in the outskirts of Delhi, in the periphery, aas-paas. Okay, so it is in the periphery of Delhi. What is it? It is a place where over 10,000 rag pickers stay. Now, who are the rag pickers? The rag pickers, you have all seen, I'm sure, those small children and boys and even men and women, they scrounge the garbage that we throw and they pick up some things from there and put in a bag that they carry on their shoulders and they go. They are the rag pickers. So the protagonist of our first story over here is also a rag picker of Simapuri. What is his name? Sahib. Okay, now as the story begins, we see that the author encounters this boy Sahib every morning. What does he do? He picks the garbage with a bag and he is doing rag picking. So the author asks him that you are a small boy, why don't you go to school? The boy says, there is no school in my locality. The author asks him that if I build a school, will you come to my school? He says yes. He just is very happy and excited. He said, yes, I will. But after a few days, when he comes and asks the author that, is your school ready? The author is very embarrassed, because we all understand the author did not have any plan of building a school. It was a very casual question. It was a casual remark, a promise that was not supposed to be fulfilled. The author feels a little embarrassed. Now, she along with this also makes a remark which is very important for your question, that such promises abound in the world of the people like Sahib. What does it mean? The author says that such promises means what? The promises that are not meant to be fulfilled. Such promises abound. Abound means are in plenty in the world of Sahib and the people like him. What does she mean? She means that these false promises are often made by the politicians, the government. Okay, they make such promises which are never meant to be fulfilled. Okay, now the next thing that we come to is Sahib's name. The author says over here that Sahib's name, the full name of Sahib, is Sahib-e-Alam. A very grand name indeed for a rag picker. Sahib-e-Alam means what? Lord of the universe. Now here is the second question that can come, that is, do you think his name is suitable? You have to say no. Do you think it is ironical? You have to say yes, definitely, because Sahib is a rag picker. He doesn't even have the basic necessities of life. He doesn't go to school. He doesn't have proper clothes to wear. He doesn't have a proper house to live. He roams about without any footwear, without any sandal. And his name is Sahib-e-Alam. Okay, so it is indeed ironical. Okay, so this is the next question that we can get from here. Next, the author says that these group of boys like Sahib and other rag pickers, they roam about barefoot. When they are asked that why are you roaming without chappal, what do they say? Some say कि मेरे मम्मी ने ऊपर कहीं रखा था, I could not reach. Somebody says it is our tradition. But the author says the real reason behind this is a perpetual state of poverty. Perpetual का क्या मतलब है? Never ending, endless. So the author says ये सब झूठे बहाने हैं, excuses है. तो real reason क्या है इसका? Real reason है a never ending cycle of poverty. Okay, a state of perpetual poverty. Okay, so this is the reason for them not wearing footwear, right? Next paragraph, you will find the author is narrating to us a story, okay, like an incident that happened with her. What she says that she had met a man from Udupi. Udupi is a place in Karnataka. Now that man told the author कि जब छोटा था, that man was a small boy, he lived in a village. His father was a priest in a temple. और वो जब स्कूल जाता था तब वो बिना शूज के, बिना जूते के स्कूल जाता था और वो डेली भगवान को प्रे करता था कि आई नीड अ पेयर ऑफ शूज, भगवान मुझे प्लीज एक पेयर ऑफ जूते दिला दो. So this happened long back. Now the author, after 30 years, visits that same place and the same village. Okay? The author sees that the son of the present priest has a pair of shoes. So the author tries to indicate over here that for some fortunate people, life has changed. कैसे? 30 साल पहले जो प्रीस्ट थे या उनका जो बेटा था, उनके पास शूज नहीं थे. बट अभी के जो प्रीस्ट है, उनका जो बेटा है, दे हैव शूज. दैट मीन्स व्हाट? थिंग्स हैव इम्प्रूव्ड फॉर बेटर फॉर सम पीपल. He says, but for these unfortunate rag pickers, things are same. They are trapped in the same condition of poverty and misery and illiteracy. Okay, things have not changed for them. Now we move on to the next paragraph. It is very important. The author in this paragraph explains Simapuri, the people living over there and their living conditions. First of all, she says that Simapuri, though is very near Delhi, yet metaphorically it is far away from Delhi. Very important question for 2 marks. Why? Because geographically it is very near. But if you look at the facilities, the amenities, the infrastructure, the people, the living conditions, we understand why it is far away from Delhi. Delhi has all the facilities, the amenities, it is the political, economic capital of India. But Simapuri, the people live in huts, they do not have 2 meals per day, they do not have proper clothes. So it is metaphorically far, far away from Delhi. Then she explains that these people, remember this thing, they have come from Bangladesh. They are basically refugees from Bangladesh. Why have they come away to India? Because of flood, because of natural calamity. Okay, their houses, their fields were all destroyed because of flood. So they have come to India and they are staying in India as refugees, right? Next thing we get is a very important term that we get throughout the chapter, that is gold. The author says that garbage to them is gold. What does it mean? Means it is very, very precious. Something that we threw away. It is a waste product for us, but it is gold. It is precious for them. Why? Because it gives them their daily bread. It is the source of their survival. It is their occupation, right? One more thing the author points out over here is this garbage, this rag picking that they have, it has 2 different connotations for the adults and for the children. For the adults, it is their daily bread. What is it for the children? It has one more interesting meaning or significance for the children. It is wrapped in wonder for them. What does it mean? जब भी ये बच्चे साहिब जैसे ये लोग जब भी वो गार्बेज ऐसे ढूंढते हैं उनको ना कुछ कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग चीजें मिल जाता है, जैसे कि कभी कोई कॉइन मिल गया, कभी एक आध नोट ही मिल गया, कभी कोई अमीर बच्चों का कोई फेंका हुआ खिलौना, कोई जूता, कोई कपड़ा. तो that is a waste product for others. They have thrown it. It is a garbage for others. But for these poor children, the garbage becomes a treasure hunt because they get a lot of interesting things from the garbage. So it is wrapped in wonder for the children. This is also an important question. Now, as the story comes to the end, 2 things are there. First of all, the author one day notices Sahib is watching 2 people play tennis and he is wearing a second-hand shoe, tennis shoe. But Sahib is not at all unhappy that he is wearing somebody else's thrown away product. Because for the people who remain shoeless, for them even a discarded product of a rich boy is something very, very lucky. Okay, so it is a fortune for Sahib. So this way the author tries to bring out the pain, the sorrow of these poor children. Now, as the story, or this episode I should say, of Sahib comes to the end, the author one day finds that he is working in a tea stall. Okay, Sahib says he's very happy. Apparently he's happy. He says, I work in a tea stall and I get 800 rupees and all the meals. But the author can see that happiness is lost. That carefree look that he had in his face is lost. Why? Because Sahib is no more the master of his own life. He is now a child labor. Okay, the owner of the tea stall is his master. He has lost his freedom. So beautiful line is here. The canister of milk that Sahib is carrying is heavier than that bag of garbage that he used to carry. Why? Because that garbage bag was his own. He was the master of his own life, and now that freedom, that independence is completely lost, and Sahib is a child labor. He is no more the master of his own life. Now we move on to the next episode. The protagonist of the next episode is Mukesh. Who is he? He is a small boy. He is a bangle maker of Firozabad. Now Firozabad is famous for its glass blowing industry. That means what? It produces lovely glass items, especially bangles. So Firozabad is a supplier of bangles all over India. But the tragedy is the lives of these people who make such wonderful bangles are completely plunged in darkness and filled with misery and exploitation. But Mukesh is a boy who wants to be his own master. He wants to come out of this vicious cycle of poverty and exploitation, and what he wants to do? He wants to become a mechanic, car mechanic. Now the author says over here that his dream looms like a mirage in the dust of Firozabad. A very, very important line. Why she says this, we have to understand this very carefully. First of all, what do you mean by mirage? मिराज इज एन इल्यूजन. इल्यूजन का क्या मतलब है? एक ऐसा चीज जो सच नहीं है या जो सच नहीं हो सकता. सो ऑथर ये कहना चाह रहे, मुकेश बनना तो चाहता था मैकेनिक, कार मैकेनिक, पर शायद उसका जो ये सपना, वो सपना ही रह जाएगा. ही विल नॉट बी एबल टू ट्रांसफॉर्म हिज ड्रीम्स इनटू रियलिटी. अब उन्होंने ऐसा क्यों कहा? ऐसा क्या है ये सपने में? दैट वी विल अंडरस्टैंड व्हेन वी डू this entire episode. Now we see that Mukesh takes the author to his house. Okay, his house and the place where he lived is in a pathetic condition. There is no drainage, there is no proper sewage, the doors are wobbly. Wobbly means they are shaking, they are half broken, and the house where he took the author to was also in a pathetic condition. It was a half built shack, kind of a झोपड़ी kind of. वहां पे मुकेश रहता था. Now the author over there met Mukesh's sister-in-law, his father, and also his grandmother. Now the grandmother part is important over here because the grandmother says that it is all karma. Karma means destiny. So this is something very important over here that we get, that the people of Firozabad, they have accepted their poor, pathetic, miserable, poverty-stricken life as their destiny. मतलब उनमें वो करेज, वो ड्रीम्स, सब कुछ खत्म हो चुका है ना. उनमें वो ना तो उम्मीद बची है, ना कोई सपना देखता है कि हाँ हम अच्छे से रहेंगे, ये जो दिस कंडीशन है, वी विल कम आउट ऑफ दिस. दे हैव फॉरगॉटन एवरीथिंग. दे डोंट हैव एनी होप, दे डोंट हैव एनी करेज, एंड दे हैव एक्सेप्टेड देयर लाइफ एज देयर डेस्टिनी. भाग्य है हमारा, हम तो ऐसे ही रहना पड़ेगा क्योंकि गॉड हैज गिवन अस दिस काइंड ऑफ life. We are born in a family of bangle makers, so we have to remain bangle makers, whether we suffer, whether we have full meal to eat, or whether we have a shelter. जो भी situation है, हम तो यही हमारा किस्मत है, हमको तो ऐसे ही रहना है. This is something very important. Now next the author says one more tragedy of the people of Firozabad. What is it? She says that it is the city is filled with beautiful bangles, colorful bangles, beautiful pink, green, yellow, red, blue, all rainbow colors are filled, in the streets of Firozabad. But look at the irony, a very important question for long 5 marks. That is, Though the streets of Firozabad are filled with beautiful bangles, colorful bangles, the lives of the people of Firozabad are filled with darkness. Why? Now I am coming to something very, very important. First of all, the author says over here that as these people spend their entire life in those dark, dingy cells, as small children, जब वो छोटा बच्चा होता है उसी टाइम से इनको ऐसे फैक्ट्रीज में और ऐसे अंधेरे रूम्स में डाल दिया जाता है एंड उसी में वो लोग रहते हैं. फ्रॉम देयर चाइल्डहुड दे आर ट्रैप्ड इन दोज डार्क डिंजी सेल्स, स्मॉल रूम्स, एंड दे वर्क इन फ्रंट ऑफ द फर्नेस. ओके, एज अ रिजल्ट व्हाट हैपेंस व्हेन दे ग्रो ग्रेजुअली दे बिकम ब्लाइंड. This is the most tragic part of this entire thing. These people lose their eyesight as they mature, as they grow into adults. So we can understand that this question that I was discussing with you, that though colorful bangles are all spread everywhere in the city, but their lives are filled with darkness. What does it mean? Because first of all, they become blind. And number two, metaphorically, why is it significant? Because their lives are filled with the darkness of what? Of poverty, of exploitation, and of misery, and of illiteracy. Okay, so this is a very important question. Now the author explains about a girl called Savita. एक ऐसी छोटी सी लड़की है जो काम कर रही है ऐसे फर्नेस के सामने बैठ के. She is making bangles and an old woman is also sitting with Savita. The author again says that look at the sorrow, look at the tragedy that this girl who's making beautiful bangles for all the women of India, because bangles are the symbol of happy matrimony, happy marriage. Isn't it? In the book, the word suhag is used. It means the auspiciousness of marriage. But look at the life of Savita. Will she ever enjoy the happiness of marriage? Will her life change after marriage? The author says no. The only thing that will change is gradually she will lose her eyesight, as the old woman who is sitting beside her has lost. So this is the sorrow. The girl who's making beautiful bangles for the people, for the women of India, and that symbolize marriage, happiness of marriage, will herself be deprived of the bliss of happy married life. Why? Because her life will be spent in this dark room in front of the furnace, and gradually she will lose her eyesight. Now the author says this is the condition of all the people of Firozabad. Okay, they don't know any other thing other than bangle making. They are all languishing in poverty. They have all lost courage. They don't have any dreams for future. So it is very, very sad. Now at this point, if Mukesh, a small boy, says that he wants to become a motor mechanic, it is indeed appreciable. Okay, it shows the spark of courage and the power to see dreams in him. Now we are moving on to one more episode which is very, very important in the chapter also and for question also. What is it? The author says that why don't you people make a cooperative? Why are you dependent on the middlemen, on the rich businessmen? अपना ही bangles बनाओ, खुद ही जाओ शहर में जाके बेच दो. Don't be dependent on the middlemen, the money lenders, the businessmen, okay, because they are exploiting you. But they say that अगर हम ये करते हैं, ये कोऑपरेटिव बनाते हैं, तो ये जो लोग हैं, who are the people? There is a kind of a tie-up of whom? The politicians, the bureaucrats, the policemen, the money lenders, and the businessmen. What do? They together frame a false case against these poor bangle makers and throw them in jail. अब प्रॉब्लम ये है, इनके पास ना तो एजुकेशन है, ना पैसा है, ना कोई प्रॉपर लीडर है जो इनको थोड़ा सा गाइड कर सके। तो ये बेचारे अगर कुछ कोशिश भी करते हैं अपने पैर पे खड़े होने के लिए, कोऑपरेटिव बनाने के लिए, तो दीज पीपल दे डोंट अलाउ देम टू डू सो। व्हाई दे डोंट अलाउ देम टू डू सो? क्योंकि अगर ये इंडिपेंडेंट हो जाएंगे तो उनका मदद कौन लेगा, उनका फायदा कैसे होगा, उनसे उधार कौन लेगा? Isn't it? Because they are poor, they take money from the money lenders, from the sahukars, the businessmen, they take the bangles and go and sell in the market. So these people, they don't want the poor bangle makers to become independent. Okay, so this is the reason I'm constantly using the word that they are being exploited. These people are exploiting the poor bangle makers. So the author says, after observing the entire thing, she says that I observe that there are two worlds. Very important, this is an important question. Two worlds. Number one, the world of the bangle makers who are poverty stricken, who have that stigma of caste that हम लोग इसी bangle maker के family में ही पैदा हुए तो हमको यहीं पे रहना है, यही हमारा कर्मा है। तो this is one kind of situation. The other world is the world of the politicians, the bureaucrats, the policemen, the middlemen and the sahukars. Okay, now the author is saying that who is becoming the victim of these two worlds? The children. Because of these two worlds, a child in Firozabad doesn't go to school. He goes to a bangle making industry. Why? Because the parents do not have money to send the children to school. So they send their children to the bangle making industry. Moreover, these people, as I told you, the bureaucrats and the businessmen and the politicians, they don't want these people to go to school to get education. Because if they get education, they become independent, their benefit will be reduced. So in this situation, again I'm saying that, I'm explaining that part. In this situation, Mukesh wants to become a motor mechanic. It is indeed a matter of appreciation. So the author is definitely very, very happy when she hears that Mukesh wants to become a motor mechanic. Now at the end, the author asks Mukesh that do you want to become a pilot? Now Mukesh is a little embarrassed, okay, because becoming a pilot is beyond his wildest imagination. Maximum this poor boy can dream is to become a motor mechanic. And the chapter ends over here. Now I will tell you the important questions that can come from here, which most of them I have discussed, but let us do a quick review of the important questions. First of all is the title, which I have discussed with you. What is the meaning of the title? Lost Spring, the happiness, joy, freedom of these people, of these children are lost. Their childhood is lost because from childhood they have taken the responsibility of earning money in their families. They don't go to school, they don't play, they don't enjoy because they have to carry the burden of their family along with their adult members. So their childhood is lost. Along with this, you have to definitely explain the life of Sahib and Mukesh in short in this answer. The next question that we get is when the author says that such promises abound in the world of Sahib. That also I've explained that politicians and government makes false promises which they are not fulfilling at any point of time. Okay, the third question is about Sahib's name, whether it's suitable, whether it is ironical, so you have to explain that. The next question that we get is the real reason behind these children, Sahib and his group, the rag picker boys, staying barefoot. We have to say it's a state of perpetual poverty. There is no other reason behind it, though they give all excuses, but the real reason is poverty. Okay, Garibi. The next question that we get is Simapuri being near to Delhi but also far away from Delhi, metaphorically, a very, very important question. Next question is the difference of connotation about garbage to the adult and the small children. How is garbage different? What is the significance of garbage to the adults and to the small children? This also we have done in detail. Next and the last from the Sahib episode is, was Sahib happy when he became the tea stall worker? You have to obviously say no along with reasons. Now as we come to Mukesh episode, the most important question that comes over here, that comes in my mind first is that mirage part. Why is Mukesh's dream regarded as a mirage by the author? We have explained it, so you will have to write it nicely, that because the conditions that were there were not conducive, not suitable for him to realize his dreams. Okay, Next that we get is the situation of the people living in Firozabad. What were the hazards that they faced, that becoming blind and all? You have to say that. So the question can be in various ways. We can say that what were the living conditions. You have to say how they lived. A detailed explanation is there in the book. And next is what are the hazards they faced. You have to say that they lost their eyesight. The next question that we can get is the irony that existed in the life of the bangle makers. That also we have discussed, that though they produced such beautiful and colorful bangles that filled happiness in the life of the people of India, their own lives are filled with darkness. So we have to say both the darkness. Literal darkness means they lost their eyesight, and the metaphorical darkness, that meant the darkness of misery, of poverty, of illiteracy and of exploitation. Now last but not the least at all, what are the forces that conspired against them? Forces यहाँ पे कौन से? वही जो मैंने बताया था, the saukars, the middlemen, the politicians, the bureaucrats, how these people all conspired against them and tried to keep them in the same condition, okay, tried to trap them and confine them in a world of misery and poverty for their own selfish benefit. Okay. Next, a very important question, compare and contrast between Sahib and Mukesh, or a direct question that how is Mukesh different from Sahib? Now, see, the similarities are many because they are both child laborers, they both are victims of the society, they are both trapped in the vicious cycle of poverty and misery, they don't have the basic amenities of life. Okay, but there is one difference which is very, very important for us. What is it? See, Sahib accepts his fate with resignation. He doesn't try to change his fate. He becomes a child laborer and he accepts it. But in Mukesh, we see a spark, okay, a determination, a firm resolution to become a motor mechanic and to leave that profession that has condemned them to a life of poverty for generation. So this is very, very important. That brings us to the end of the lesson along with the question answers. I hope you have appreciated the chapter and understood the pain and the suffering faced by these poor unfortunate children. So subscribe my channel, like my video and put your comments and share with everybody, your friends and your family. Thank you and happy learning.